Hello and welcome back to StatmanJames. In today's video, we're going to be analysing game week 3 of the UEFA Champions League. I'm going to do a breakdown of each fixture and I'll give you my score predictions. Let's hop straight into the video. Now, starting off with Group A, we've got Galatasaray hosting Bayern Munich. Both teams have started well in the group. Galatasaray second in the group with 4 points, a disappointing draw at home to Copenhagen, but a massive bounce back win, a 3-2 away win against Manchester United at Old Trafford. Now, Galatasaray come into this game unbeaten in 22 matches. They've won 11 of the last 12, including that big win away from home in Manchester. Now, Bayern Munich, exactly the same. They come into this game with bags of confidence. They won the opening 2 games of the group. They're unbeaten with Harry Kane, 10 games, 8 wins and 2 draws. They've also scored 33 goals in those games, averaging 3.3 per game. Leroy Sané is playing well, Serge Gnabry is playing well, Kingsley Coman's playing well, Musiala's playing well, and when you've got Harry Kane up top, you know, just spells out goals. And this game, it also spells out goals. I see at least 3-4 goals in this game. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Bayern Munich win, but do not be surprised if Galatasaray pick up points. I'm going to say 2-1 Bayern Munich, but it could be 2-2. Now, the second game in Group A is Man United as they host Copenhagen, a massive pressure game for Erik ten Hag, as his Reds come into this game 4th, bottom of the group, 0 points taken from their opening 2 games. At the time of filming this video, 6 losses in the last 10 games, and they've conceded 7 goals in the opening 2 games of this Champions League campaign. Now, that is brutal, and it's got to change quick in all competitions for United. Copenhagen, 1 point taken from the opening 2 games, a draw away to Galatasaray, a really good point to take, and a disappointing loss in the end to Bayern Munich. You'd expect Bayern Munich to beat them comfortably, but they were actually beating the German Giants until the 67th minute when Jamal Musiala equalled the game. Now, if United don't win this game, they're out. In simple terms, even if they draw, they'd have to beat Bayern Munich, Galatasaray away and Copenhagen away to get to 10 points. It's not going to happen, but I do fancy them to win this game. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Man United win. See Højlund scoring against a team that's native to his country, and they've just got to win this game. You know, Copenhagen, they can pull points out when needed, but come on, you know, they've got to win this game. Now, moving into Group B, we've got RC Lens as they host PSV Eindhoven. Lens have had a brilliant start to the campaign this season. Unbeaten in 11, the top of the Champions League group with 4 points, and last time out in the Champions League they beat Arsenal. Now, that's a massive win. If you can beat the favourites in the group, you're putting yourself in a brilliant position. They're unbeaten in 11 in all competitions, but PSV, the bottom of the group, but do not be deceived. Just 1 loss in 36 games, and that loss came against Arsenal. I can see this game being really close. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Now, the second game in Group B is Sevilla as they host Arsenal. Now, Sevilla, they've struggled in all competitions, running into the back end of last season with just 2 wins from the last 16 games. But Arsenal, last time out, they lost to RC Lens, and that's their only loss so far this season. They've looked good in the Premier League, and I expect them to win this game. I'm going to go for a 3-1 Gunners win. Now, moving into Group C, we've got SC Braga as they host Real Madrid. Now, if Real Madrid win this game, they're going to be comfortable in the group. 9 points taken, 3 out of 3 wins, and I expect them to win this game. Braga have only lost 3 of the last 14 games, and they did beat Union Berlin away from home. But the way Jude Bellingham's playing, the way Real Madrid as a whole are playing this season, it's not going to be enough. 2-0 Real Madrid. The next game in Group C, we've got Union Berlin as they host Napoli. Now, Union Berlin have been so unlucky in the Champions League so far this season. Their opening 2 games have lost both in the 94th minute. Now, the first game was against Real Madrid. They lost to a Jude Bellingham goal, and SC Braga beat them 3-2 last time out, again in the 94th minute. If they don't win this game, they're out. Simple as that. Now, Napoli, they're unbeaten away so far this season. 5 games, 3 wins and 2 draws. And I think they'll win this game. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Napoli win. Now, moving into Group D, we've got Benfica as they host Real Sociedad. Now, Benfica have lost the first 2 games of the Champions League campaign this season. Both games they've lost to 0. 1-0 against Inter and 2-0 at home to Salzburg, a massive loss. But they have won all 8 of their games in Portugal this season, so let's see if they can carry that form over to this game week 3. Now, Real Sociedad have only lost 2 of the last 11 games this season, and they were both to Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid 2-1 away from home, so they've looked really strong this season. I watched the game against Napoli, they played really well, and this is going to be a tough game for Benfica, who need points. I think they'll take a draw. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw, but they need something from this game. Now, the other game in Group D is Inter as they host RB Salzburg. Now, Inter come into this game with 7 wins from 10 so far this season, and they've scored in 23 of the last 24 games, running into last season. The only game they've not scored in those last 24 was the final against Man City, where of course they lost 1-0. Salzburg, they had a huge away win last time out against Benfica, 2-0, but they were brought back down to earth with a loss in the last game against Real Sociedad. Now, Inter should take control of this game in Italy. I can see them winning quite comfortably, to be fair. I don't think Salzburg will score. I'm going to go for a 3-0 Inter win. Moving on to Group E, we've got Celtic as they host Atletico Madrid. Now, Atletico Madrid have been playing some fine football this season. The same can't be said for Celtic in the Champions League so far, although they are doing well in the Scottish Premiership. Now, Celtic, they needed to beat Lazio last time out at home. That was the game that they needed to win, and they lost 2-1. They're doing well in the league, the top of the Scottish League, but like I said, they're struggling in the Champions League this season. No points from the opening 2 games. Now, Atletico, they've had 5 straight wins and they've scored 13 goals in them games. So Diego Simeone being seen as a defensive manager, but they are scoring goals. They've got the second best defence in La Liga, so they stand strong defensively. They're scoring goals, and I can see that output being instilled on this game, and I can see Atletico winning 2-0 Atletico Madrid. Next in Group E, we've got Feyenoord as they host Lazio. Now, Feyenoord, 7 out of 8 wins this season. The only loss came last time out against Atletico Madrid, and they still scored twice in that game, unfortunately losing 3-2. Now, Feyenoord have scored 30 goals in the last 8 games. They're scoring some serious goals. And Lazio had a poor start to the season, but they've started to pick up form, especially with that big win last time out away from home to Celtic. But I don't think it's going to be enough to get anything from a massive goal scoring team like Feyenoord so far this season. And I think Feyenoord win this game 3-1. Moving into Group F with a massive matchup, as we've got Newcastle hosting Borussia Dortmund. Now, Newcastle are in unreal form. They're unbeaten in the last 7 games, and in that run they beat Manchester City, PSG 4-1 and Sheffield United 8-0. Crazy scores. But Dortmund, they no mugs themselves. They've only lost 1 of 11 games this season, and it was to PSG away. This will be a close game, but I just think Newcastle, St James's Park, I think Newcastle are going to win this game again. Dortmund probably will score 2-1 Newcastle. And moving across to the other game in Group F, we've got PSG as they host AC Milan. Now, PSG need a bounce back after that embarrassing loss last time out in the Champions League, 4-1 away to Newcastle. And they can't find a rhythm this season. The last 6 games in all competitions have seen them lose, win, draw, lose, win. AC Milan have lost just 1 of the last 10 games, and it was the derby against Inter Milan. And this could be a tricky game for PSG. AC Milan doing well defensively. Can they nullify Mbappe? That's the question. If they can definitely get something. But I see PSG needing a bounce back. They've got a game this weekend against, is it Strasbourg? I think they'll win that. And I'm going to say that PSG win this game 1-0. Now, moving into Group G, we've got a massive mismatch in Young Boys hosting Man City. Now, Young Boys have been inconsistent in the Swiss League. The 2 games in the Champions League so far have seen them lose to RB Leipzig at home and draw with Crvena Zvezda away. Now, Man City 2 for 2. They're going to go 3 for 3 in wins, and I can see them winning this by 4 or 5. I'm going to go conservative and say 3-0, but this could go, like I said, 4-5-0 if Young Boys aren't careful. Now the other game in Group G is RB Leipzig as they host Crvena Zvezda. Now RB Leipzig are off to a flying start this season with 7 wins in the first 8 games. That slowed down a little bit, but they'll still come into this game with a lot of confidence and as heavy favourites. Crvena Zvezda, they needed to beat Young Boys at home to give themselves any sort of chance in this group, and it was a draw. For me, again, lose this game and you're out, and I think they will do. I'm going to go for RB Leipzig 3-0. Now moving into the final group, Group H, Barcelona host Shakhtar Donetsk. Barcelona 2 games 2 wins so far in the Champions League this season. They're unbeaten in all competitions, 11 games, 9 wins and 2 draws. Now the first 2 games, 5-0 win against Royal Antwerp and a 1-0 win away from home to Porto, keeping both 2 clean sheets in both games. Now Shakhtar, they lost last time out to Porto and they've looked shaky this season. It's got to be a Barcelona win at the Nou Camp, 3-0 Barcelona. Now the final game is Royal Antwerp as they host FC Porto. Now Antwerp have taken no points from the opening 2 games. They sit bottom of the group. They lost last time out to Shakhtar Donetsk in a game they needed to win, and prior to that 5-0 loss to Barcelona. Porto have been slow into the season, they're starting to gain a bit of traction now, and Antwerp, they need points from this game. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I'm going to say that they take a point, but do not be surprised at all if Porto win. It should be a game week filled with goals. Let me know your match predictions in the comments. Please like this video, subscribe down below if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.